Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness. And I'm about a year late on this story, guys. I'm such a great fitness influencer, I clearly don't keep up with current events in the online fitness community. But I came across this, I don't remember exactly how I found it, but it's something we have to talk about given one of the cornerstones on this channel, which is bulking. Our boy Jeff Seid, who has been in the fitness space for a long time now. He sort of goes in and out of popularity as far as I can tell, but he still has a very big following and a lot of people are interested in what he has to say. And this article from Fitness Volt is called Bodybuilder Jeff Seid Shares His Health Scare After Using Dirty Bulk Diet. I got fat and my blood pressure went through the roof. And we're going to go down this article and I'm going to ask you guys, is this what a true dirty bulk looks like? In the body dysmorphic fitness community versus actual reality, I think these are two very different things. Before we start though, guys, if you want to grab your bulking and bulkamania, it's running wild, brother, apparel down below. I'm going to have that link in the pinned comment. Mog the main gainers and scare the permacutters in your gym. And once they start seeing you hit a lot of PRs over and over, maybe they'll finally wake up. But let's go into this article. The subtitle is, Eventually I got up to 5,000 calories a day. So let's start right off, well, with this picture. We're going to watch a video where Jeff explains everything in a little bit. But this picture on the right here, this may have been taken in 2013 or maybe a few years after that, but this is a long time ago. And then this was what Jeff looked like at this point last year. So right off jump, guys, is this legitimately a dirty bulk? Okay, now, for fitness industry standards for the body dysmorphic space, he has no abs here. Actually, there's very faint abs kind of on the sides there, right? Even so, he's got veins in his arms. You can see forearm veins, bicep vein. This is not a fat guy by any legitimate metric.
This fat son of a bitch is gonna draw us all out!
Hey, calm down, okay? Alright?
He's fat!
This is a good litmus test for fitness, guys. Which picture do you think he is actually bigger in? The left or the right? A bunch of teenagers that follow him would say, oh, he's way bigger on the right, bro. He looks bigger on the right because he's much leaner, right? He's got really defined abs, obliques, veins all over his arms. He's even got veins in his traps popping out. Also, keep in mind, this is a professional photo shoot picture that was taken, completely edited up, right? Compare that to the one on the left. He's just standing in the gym. This looks like much more of just a candid photo. If you think this is fat by any serious metric, guys, welcome to my channel. You need to watch other content here because you have a lot of body dysmorphic brainwashing in your head from the mainstream fitness industry, especially the aesthetic space and the bodybuilding space, that you need to clean out. But let's read. In addition to leading a successful career as a model and social media influencer, Jeff Seid performed exceedingly well during his years competing as a bodybuilder. This was a long time ago, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, he has not competed in, it might be 10 years or even more, maybe a bit less. Seid took Instagram recently to warn his followers about the dangers of dirty bulking diets after gaining 40 pounds in 6 months. This is something I actually talked about in my recent video, guys. Why your bulking and cutting transformation always fails. 40 pounds in 6 months. Let's do some quick math. 40 divided by 6. That's an average rate of gain of 6.66, you could just say 6.67 pounds per month. Once again as well, look at somebody like Jeff. This guy is clearly not a novice anymore. He's built a considerable amount of muscle mass. That's a lot of weight to gain. Now, once again, this guy is so genetically gifted and other factors, if you catch what I'm saying too, right? Like, he didn't even add serious amounts of fat. I mean, he's not even spilling over in the photo on the right up here. Still, he gained 40 pounds in 6 months. Realistically speaking, a guy at his experience level, in the span of 6 months, I mean, he might be lucky to gain, I was going to say even a pound a month, but a pound a month even for someone of his experience is very unlikely, at least naturally. Let's say he gained 1 pound of muscle a month. 6 divided by 40 is 15%. So of all the weight he gained, 15% is muscle, 85% is fat. There's no way to accurately track all of this, guys, especially with the average person's means. Just looking in the mirror with progress pictures and some measuring tape, you just can't simply do that. Now that said, 85-15 That is like cuts of beef. That is a very imbalanced ratio. I advise to aim for a roughly 50-50, so 1-to-1 ratio of muscle to fat when bulking. How do you do this exactly? Well, you need to have nutrient-dense foods in your diet. Don't be pigging out on a bunch of junk food. He's going to talk about that coming up here too. You need to train intelligently. You need to actually build muscle. A lot of you guys do nothing but fluff and pump, as it used to be called. I've never really seen Jeff train much. It would not surprise me if his training style was really goofy, like, a bunch of machines, just repping them out mindlessly and stuff. He's so genetically gifted, the other factors too, right? He probably could get away with that. Most of you guys can't. And you just have to get stronger. You have to progressively overload consistently through consistent ranges of motion, high intensity threshold, not always to failure, right, but a high intensity threshold. And even so, you guys know this for yourselves. If you gained 40 pounds in 6 months, you are not going to look the way he looks in these before and after pictures. Mind you, the picture before here is not what he looked like before he got to this point. Maybe in the video we're about to watch, he'll show a closer picture, but these photos are years and years apart. Even so, if this is a so-called dirty bulk, I think a lot of you would be very happy with that. This as a normal bulk, for the vast majority of guys, is looking very, very good. So that leads us down to the video on his official Instagram where he explains everything.
I got fat, and the reason why I got fat is because I dirty bulked. Now, a dirty bulk is when you eat everything in sight to put on as much size and weight as possible. But there is one dilemma. You put on a lot of fat, and that's exactly what happened to me.
Alright, so he shows this picture from the side and he says it's quote-unquote a lot of fat. Once again, man, I mean, for his standards, as lean as this guy's been for, the entirety of the time he's been an internet celebrity, this is fat. And, you can see he's holding some fat in his face, right? He's also looking down, though, so that's gonna accentuate the chin. You know what I mean? I've talked about before, guys, you have to be really cautious of the angle manipulation and stuff people do. I mean, bro, even guys with abs, if they eat a big meal and turn to the side and stick out their stomach and hunch over, they will look fat. But even so, you can see from the side here, his lower abs, like his obliques up into that point, they're still visible from the side. And it looks like he might be sucking in his stomach a bit. Even so, though, man, this just looks like a bulky dude. To any sane person, this is not a fat guy. A fat guy in the same scenario would have a gut that is extending well over his shorts.
So I bulked for 6 months. The first 4 months, I actually was pretty clean. I was very strict with the diet. I gradually was increasing the calories as my weight was going up, and I wasn't really gaining much fat. I just gained mostly muscle, and it was a pretty good time.
Okay, I'm gonna call BS on that. So he bulked for 4 months relatively clean. 40 pounds gained in 6 months. So you mean to tell me over 4 months he gained mostly muscle and barely any fat? That means you've been gaining a ton of muscle in that time, dude. That doesn't even make sense. How are you going to bulk for 4 months? Oh, it's mostly muscle, barely any fat. And then we're going to believe for 2 months it's suddenly all flipped on its head that dramatically? No.
Eventually, I got to 5,000 calories a day. And that's what I was eating every single day. And then the last 2 months of the bulk, I liked seeing the number on the scale just go up and up and up. So I decided, let's fucking eat everything. Let's get huge.
All right, now a lot of you online, whenever you see 5,000 calories, you freak out and think that's excessive. Even though I've been eating well over 5,000 calories a day for numerous months at this point, guys. My weight is still not at 200 pounds yet. I've just been crawling up past 190, 191, 192, 193, right? So if you have a lot of muscle on your body and you expend a lot of energy, you're a high metabolism guy, other hormonal factors like that, 5,000 calories is not going to make you fat or obese. I could not eat as much as I do now whenever I was new to the gym. At this point, though, I've built so much muscle, I can eat this much. And he can eat this much too, evidently. But focus on what he said there. I talked about this in the video I mentioned earlier too. He focused on just the number on the scale. And that is why bulking in so many cases gets a bad name. Because guys say, I want to hit 200 pounds, or 190, or 225, whatever weight you have in your head, where you think you're going to get to this point, and you're just going to be this hulking, brooding beast. You cannot just climb the scale that rapidly and expect it all, or most of it even, to be muscle if you're pushing it that hard. So I encourage you guys, when you're bulking, don't specifically focus on just what the scale says, especially if you're going for a number that is well off of what you're doing now. Now, if you're a guy like him that's he's not even lean, he's shredded a lot of the time, right? If you're one of these extremely lean dudes, you're going to have a big swing in the scale once you bulk because you've just been basically borderline starving yourself for that long. That's like bodybuilders after a show, how fast their weight rebounds up. But a lot of you guys are just general dudes. You might get down to 12 or 13%. You might bulk up to the high teens or 20 or so. Your weight jump should not be nearly this dramatic, especially in this amount of time. I mean, guys, if you want to keep as close to the 1-to-1 muscle to fat ratio as I mentioned, and you gain 40 pounds, say, let's say you're a skinny dude now, you're like 6 feet tall, 160 pounds, you want to get up to 200. That should take you, that's going to be over a year, without a doubt, in my estimation, to gain 40 pounds. Bro, 40 pounds if you want to keep 20 muscle, 20 fat, or, some close variation of that, you're probably going to have to bulk for a year and a half or 2 years, depending on who you are. And the thing is, a lot of guys simply don't have the patience to do that. In their head, they think it's going to just be so much muscle. And then once you cut down, especially if you train badly and you've barely gained muscle and strength, it doesn't end well.
It's time to dirty bulk, baby. I stopped doing cardio. I started eating everything. And hey, I put on size. I got up to 232 pounds.
Jeff is 6 feet tall on the internet. So he might be closer to 5'9", because so many people on the internet amp up their height compared to what they really are. You're going to see a lot of different stuff depending on who you look up. 232 pounds without that much leg size, I find that very hard to believe.
I actually gained 40 pounds from the beginning of my bulk to the end of my bulk, which is actually a lot of size to gain in 6 months. It was about 6.6 pounds a month, and I'll be honest with myself, and I know that it was not all muscle that I gained. It was a lot of fat. And that brings me to the next part of the dilemma.
You can see there's some light semblance of abs there. There's a little bit of serratus showing up top. In the fitness space, this is considered fat and out of shape. This guy, if you put this picture right here of this dude, put him on any random street in America, put him in any water park, anywhere across the world, not just America, just put him in any public venue shirtless, anybody's gonna look at him and be like, dang, that guy is jacked. I mean, this guy, to the average normal person, they might call this guy ripped. If you just have a flat stomach and defined muscles, you look like a Greek god to them.
I had to shred very hard to lose all the fat, and unfortunately I also lost a lot of the muscle, the newly built muscle that I gained from the bulk. I lost it from shredding all the fat.
Alright, so now he says he had to shred, which I don't know the exact rate of which he did that or what weight he got down to, and he says he lost a lot of the muscle. This is not serious muscle loss, it looks like, from the first picture to the second picture.
The reason why I had to stop the bulk, and the number one reason why I think dirty bulking is not good, is it's very unhealthy. What happened to me personally is my blood pressure went through the roof.
Alright, so here's a picture of his blood pressure. It's 181/86. I'll throw up a blood pressure chart reference on the screen, guys, but yeah, this is pretty high no matter how you're looking at it. The diastolic, which is the lower number, I don't think 86 is remarkably high, but I think 181 is definitely way off the chart of what they would consider good. This is one of the reasons guys get scared of bulking. They're like, oh, but is my blood pressure going to go up? I've had young dudes, like teenage guys, ask me that. They're 140 pounds soaking wet. They're like, I'm scared of bulking, brother, because my blood pressure. I'm like, dude, first of all, your blood pressure going up a little bit is fine. Guys, during the day, your blood pressure oscillates up and down. I don't know if you guys realize this. There's a video by Dr. Ken Berry. It's really good if you want to learn more about this. He explains all the ways that your blood pressure can go up in a very short time frame, even if you're not doing anything consciously. If you're in a rush, if you're stressed out, if you have low sleep, if you are angry about something, right? There's a lot of ways your blood pressure can give you like a faulty reading, and especially the way a lot of people take it, they don't even take it correctly. So they might have like clothing over their arm and they take it while they're standing or they're slouching, or they were in a rush to get to the doctor's office, right? The way you're supposed to take your blood pressure, you want to be completely calm, like have 10 minutes of time to chill so you can come down to baseline. Your arm should be like elevated on a surface roughly at heart level. You know what I mean? There's all these factors that a lot of people don't do. So if you guys have your own blood pressure gauges at home, which you can buy these on Amazon for not too much money, I would take it probably 3 times and then get the averages. Regardless, the chances of you reaching really high levels like this, naturally, unless your diet is utter dog shit, I don't know, man. I'm not convinced any genuine natural person is ever going to have to worry about their blood pressure getting this high, unless they truly are overweight or obese. I mean, we saw the pictures of Jeff. He's not legitimately fat by any metric. His diet might play a role in this. He said he started to eat everything in sight. He was showing like McDonald's, fried chicken, eating out, all this stuff. Even bulking for considerable amounts of time. For him to get a systolic reading of 181, I find that really surprising.
And I decided it's time to stop the bulk. It's time to stop dirty bulking, and it's time to shred. My advice to you is do not dirty bulk. You need to bulk responsibly. Increase your calories gradually as your weight goes up. Keep doing cardio. Eat fairly clean. The most important thing is to keep your calories in a surplus.
So even Jeff Seid, who has his entire brand is basically built on aesthetics and abs, even he is telling you guys to bulk.
Be getting good sleep, getting good rest, and rest means not training. You're also gaining muscle when you don't train. You need to recover.
You guys do need to value rest days, especially in the community of guys that look up to guys like Jeff Seid and follow him and all the mainstream dudes. They are the PPL bras. These are the guys that have a tendency to be in the gym 6, God forbid 7 days a week, junk volume, always in there. It's going to hurt your results.
You need to be honest with yourself. Evaluate your physique and the progress you're making, and look in the mirror. Don't just focus on the scale, your weight. Look in the mirror. See how much fat you're gaining. If you're gaining too much fat, not as much muscle, it might be time for you to start shredding and end the bulk.
I understand that point, but as I've talked about a lot here, guys, most of you, given the fact that you're simply inexperienced in the gym scene and lifting in general, you have body dysmorphia from consuming content from the aesthetics crew and all this stuff on Instagram you see over and over, all of the naturals, you cannot accurately gauge that. I mean, even Jeff's own physique's a great example, right? He called himself fat here. This is not a fat guy. And I get a lot of questions too about skinny fat, because in my infamous skinny fat video, I say you need to slow bulk to fix skinny fat. And guys always say like, oh, but you should just recomp, bro, or you should cut because you have some fat on you and you can use that as energy and then you can build muscle. And I try to tell you guys, man, you don't have that much muscle to begin with, bro. And really, skinny fat, part of that is skinny, right? You have a little bit of love handle like most people do, maybe some chest fat, right? But in the grand scheme of things, your BMI is in the normal range. You look bad with a shirt off. That's what it really comes down to. If you're skinny fat, you put on a shirt, nobody can really tell. Your worst nightmare is at the beach or at like a hot tub and you're like, oh my god. But the fact of the matter is, if you barely have any muscle and then you cut or shred down, you're going to look like a gremlin. You're going to look emaciated. You're going to look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. So that's why I tell skinny fat guys, actually skinny fat, not guys who are legitimately fat with smaller arms. I'm talking dudes who just carry some unsightly fat in those problem areas. You need to focus on building muscle and doing so for a while, because muscle is what is really going to change your physique and really overhaul your metabolism in the long run. Shredding fat, guys, fat is easy come, easy go. Muscle is hard to gain, but once you have it, it's really hard to lose it unless you got it through enhanced means. So using the mirror as a gauge to slow down the bulk or end the bulk, I understand that, but a lot of you guys, given the body dysmorphia that you have and the fact that you just see so many unrealistic physiques every single day that you think are normal, you're not really in a state to do that. So that's why I say focus on goal PRs, right? Say you're going to get to the 225 bench, get to a 315 squat, high 300s or 400 deadlift, other exercises too, right? Maybe like a 185 incline bench, whatever it's going to be. Get 12 pull-ups in a row. There's all kinds of stuff, guys, but the point is, you need to build muscle to really change your physique. The vast majority of you watching this do not have nearly the amount of muscle on you that Jeff Seid does, nor all the other influencers that you watch. So they're in a completely different circumstance from you, but then they're going to shred down and look great. You think you have to shred down. You are not going to look like them. So this was interesting from Jeff. I appreciate him sharing it. A guy like him whose entire internet identity revolves around the aesthetic thing, this was probably pretty hard for him to do and talk about. Even so, a lot of the stuff he said I think was very suspect. I don't think it really adds up, but that's the fitness space in general. It's all just really a big circus anyway. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to grab your training program down below, revivalfitness.org/programs. You can get in direct contact with me and join our community Discord server on Patreon and save money on other great products and services. And I will catch you guys next time.